Welcome back to another episode of Balancing Healthy, you guys. I am very excited for today's episode because it's another training episode. And if you've been listening for a while, you would know how much I love to bring my PT brain to the podcast, but it's just like, it's a little bit harder when it's like obviously a listening platform, not really like a viewing platform. Even though I record it through video, I'm just like, a lot of people are probably listening to this. So let me know if you are watching all the videos because I would love to know. But yeah, we're going to do a bit of a training chat today, which I think will be really, really important coming into this time of year. We're currently mid-November, and I just think, coming into the Christmas season, busy periods, like I literally have a client who already has a Christmas party this Friday. I'm literally hosting one for my online clients next Saturday. Like, Christmas season is well and truly upon us, and I think life gets so busy, and I have, so many clients that say, oh no, it's fine, like I'm not doing anything or this or that, but it's like so many like ad hoc things come up that like you just don't really plan for. So I know for me from like mid-December, well, I should say over the next 4 weeks, I do have events on every weekend, but from December alone to like the start of Jan, I have so much on, like a million Christmases, birthdays, just like all the things. So I know it gets very, very busy. I am very well aware of it. And I just want to talk to training and hopefully give you like a little bit of tips and tricks on that. But firstly, pretty much today's episode, I want to teach you guys how you can train smarter, not harder. And this can, like I said, this can be applied to your like life in general. I just think some of the things that I talk about today are going to be really beneficial for the upcoming weeks, what is it, 6 weeks left of the year, 7 weeks, just while it's really busy and stuff as well. So one thing about me is I don't like to tell people what to do. I don't like being told what to do. So a lot of this is going to be very beneficial, but also take it with a grain of salt, and you understand what I mean when I get into it a little bit more. So I've got 3 things I want to cover today in terms of training smarter, not harder, so you can actually see some results in the gym, actually build that toned body that you're looking for. Maybe it's lose the weight, like whatever the goal is, I've got you. So first things first, I want to talk to biggest struggles when it comes to training. And now I think there's 2 things here. The first one is overdoing it. So if you're one of these 2 people, please keep listening. First person is the overdoing it. So, you're new to the gym and you're like, okay, I really want to lose weight or I really want to tone up. So I need to go to the gym 5, 6, 7 days a week and I need to train really hard. And like, I need to do X workout that I've seen on Instagram or YouTube or whatever the thing is, or whatever app you're following, whatever it is. And you might do that for 2 weeks and you feel amazing. You're like, so good, I'm seeing results. And then you drop off because you might not even realize it, but like you're physically exhausted and you're mentally exhausted and you're just fatigued because training that hard, especially if you're someone who has never trained before, you've taken a big break, training that hard is the first way to burn out and the first way to really develop an injury. So big no-no. That's the first person. The next person is someone that goes into the gym, they walk into the gym and it's just so overwhelming. And like, truthfully, the gym is so overwhelming if you A, literally have no idea what you're doing, B, like you've never stepped foot in a gym before, and like C, you don't have a plan. So I can actually think of an example. The other day I was at the gym and it might have been Monday morning, one of those days, doesn't really matter. And I was cleaning up my bench and I was about to move to a different spot in the gym, and this girl had walked in and she was kind of like over the other side of the gym, and then I only took notice of her because she was wearing like a really bright pair of shorts, and then she came over towards where I was. And she was just kind of like looking around. And like me being the PT, I was like, okay, I feel like, again, I work with a lot of in-person clients. I work with a lot of online clients. I've been coaching for 3 years, so I can kind of pick things up. And I was like, I feel like she's struggling. I feel like she would just appreciate a little bit of like guidance. So I literally just said, hi, like, are you okay? Are you looking for something in particular? Like, could have been looking for a piece of equipment. And I was like, are you looking for something like, can I help you kind of vibe? And mind you, this is not the gym that I work at. So I was just there training. She has no idea I was a PT. I was just there. And she was like, oh, yeah, I'm so overwhelmed. Like, I'm just so confused. Like, there's so many things to do. I don't know what to do. And context, my gym is 3 levels, the one that I currently go to. So it is a bit overwhelming. But literally from her saying that to me, like my head, I was like, I know exactly what you mean. Like I used to go to a big fuck off gym when I started training, and I would go to the women's section because I was like, the rest of the gym freaked me the fuck out. Not only was it full of like bodybuilders and shit, but like it freaked me the fuck out because I was like, it is so big. There is so much equipment everywhere. I have no idea what any of it is. I don't know how to use it. I don't know what it's for. Like, it was so confusing. So when she said that, I like felt that to my core. And so I was just pretty much like, like, do you have a plan? Like, is there something you're following? Like, what are you aiming to do today? Like, just like getting the general gist. And then she told me, and then I pointed her in the right direction, and she was so, so grateful. And I was like, that felt like such a good interaction. And I loved that I could help a random stranger in that moment. But yeah, anyway, that was just like a little random thing. Just pretty much talking about like how overwhelming it can get. And like, I can still feel that deep to my core. Like the second she said that to me, I was like, yep. I know exactly what you're talking about. So there's those two things, and that's the biggest struggle I see when it comes to training, pretty much when it comes to starting training. Now, I kind of want to go into from here what I do, how I progress someone with their training session. So it's going to look different for someone who's online and someone who's in person, because someone who's in person, obviously, like I see them every week. It might be once, it might be twice, like whatever it is. And then I progress them in a certain way there. But I'll talk to how I do it for online. So not a lot of the time, but I have had quite a lot of clients that come to me, we start with nutrition only, and that's perfect and that's fine. And we get them working on nutrition, making sure they're fueling correctly, they're moving in some way. Like, we just get them feeling really good. And then we move to training, and that training is generally at home, right? If it's not at home, if it's a beginner in the gym, I'm very specific with that, but pretty much let's start from the at home, and I'll have someone doing some stuff at home. I'm like, you've got a couple of weights. I'll write a program based around that. Like, it's learning the fundamentals and the basics, and, like squats and lunges, and, it's hip thrusts and a deadlift. And like, it's so dependent on what the person's got and where they're at in their journey. But like, I can still program a home program, and then eventually they build that confidence. Like, okay, I'm going to join a gym now. From there, so I already failed to mention, I do not have anyone that trains more than 3 times a week. So I will also look at that person's schedule, and I'll say, okay, run me through a whole week in your life. What other sports do you play? What other, activities do you like to do? Like, I have some basketballers, I have some hockey people, I have, some Pilates girls. Like, I have a range, and I know that there's more to life than strength training. So I really like to factor that in, and I like to make the strength support the X activity. So I'm always like, okay, what have we got? And then I'll plan how many sessions. And usually I'll start them off with 1 or 2. Like, that is it. 1 or 2 sessions. We'll do full body. We'll just get used to the movements. I don't want you to feel like your body's cooked after every session. Full body's really good for recovering a bit better. So I love to do that for someone who's just starting out. Then we go into the gym, and I still keep it very similar movement patterns, but with, the potentially got heavier dumbbells in the gym. Potentially they can use a machine for something. So for example, potentially I've got them doing a hip thrust at home. They can then go and, use the glute drive at the gym. Same movement pattern, but now it's learning, okay, this is a machine. This is how I, use the belt. This is how I put the plates on. It's like moving them up in that kind of sense. It could be something like, okay, we've been doing a squat at home. So like, we can still do some squats in like with the dumbbell section. Like I try and keep things really simple, like machines and dumbbells, like really basic. I'll put like dumbbell exercises together so they don't have to go back and forth between the gym. It's like, do this after the other, use the dumbbells, stay in your spot. It's going to make that really simple. And then you might have to go use 2 machines after that or before that. And then we can start to add in the cables, because then, we're getting used to the machines. We're getting used to the dumbbells. Now let's try some cables. Let's try looking at, different attachments. Let's try looking at different exercises we can do. Again, it's still similar movement patterns, but it's just introducing them to the next exercises. And then I pretty much build up from there. So there is not a single person that I would go, yep, like, you're good. Like, I'm just going to start you, doing a back squat and, doing a heavy bench press and, fucking Bulgarian split squatting. That is the one thing that gets me. I have so many clients that I will give a simple static lunge to. And a static lunge is literally you're in your split stance, you're in your lunge stance, you just go up and down. You're in that same spot, you're in a static position, and you're just lunging up and down. And that is a struggle enough. And I've had so many clients come to me from other coaches that are getting them to do crazy shit like Bulgarian split squats or Smith machine deficit reverse lunges or something crazy. And I get them into a normal lunge and they're unstable in that. I'm like, we need to work on that first, before I can progress you, before I can take your foot off the floor, before you can start using a Smith machine and putting that resistance on your back. We need to get you stable in this lunge. We need to get these glutes working. I need to make sure everything is in alignment, your hips, your knees, everything. And then we can progress you from there. So I'm very intentional about the way that I program. Sorry, my laptop's about to die. I'm very intentional about the way that I program, the way that I progress someone. And this isn't just for my one-to-one clients. I also, in balancing her, it's the same thing. I'm like, okay, where is this person at? On my onboarding form, I'm literally like, where are you at? Run me through a week in your life. There's lots of questions on there I won't go into. But from there, I can then put a program in place and go, okay, this is the program for you. We're going to do this for 6 weeks, and then we'll move it up to the next one. And it's that progression from what they did in that 6 weeks to then what they do in the next 6 weeks. I also have a training only subscription. So I do have clients that literally just do training programs. There's nothing else involved with it. I write them a program. They follow it on the app. And it's the same thing though. I look at where they're at and then I progress them from there. So there's no one that's going into the gym going, I feel like a fish out of water. Like everyone is really, really solid in what they need to do. And if they have questions, they ask me. If they have a bit of gym anxiety, they message me. Like I'm always there to combat it as best as I can. And that is something that I'm really, really proud of as a coach, and it's something I'm really, really intentional with. So I just wanted to let you guys understand that if you're new to the gym, you don't have to go in, quote unquote, knowing everything. You don't have to go in going, oh shit, I should be able to do what that person over there is doing, because that person over there might have been training for like 6 years. That person over there might be doing an 80 kilo back squat, but you're new to the gym. Of course, you're not going to do an 80 kilo back squat. I'm not even doing a fucking 80 kilo back squat. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's like you've got to build it up from somewhere. So please don't feel like you are putting off your gym journey or whatever it is because you're not up to where X other person is. I still, as a PT, get a lot of gym anxiety. I still have exercises that I've never done before that I wouldn't know how to coach properly because I don't do it. So it's like, please just don't use what other people are doing or where you think you should be to stop you from just starting in general. And if you need help, let me know. I'll help you. I'm always happy to help. Send me a DM on Instagram. I really don't mind. But I'm going to move on from there because the next thing is that form is everything. And again, it's not something I can really talk to through a podcast, but the key thing for me as a PT, the key thing that I see is firstly the abs. People really don't know how to engage their core. And again, it's not something to be ashamed of because I literally didn't know. No one, I'd been to trainers, I had done all the things, and no one had taught me how to engage my core properly until I started working in the gym that I work at now. I started working with other trainers who knew what the fuck they were doing. And they showed me how to do it, and something that I find it with all my clients, and I've done a few calls with my clients. Like I do a monthly call with my online clients, and I've done calls like this where I've, just done a refresher on their form and stuff. And they're like, oh shit, like holy shit, like that helped so much. And like, it just keeps you so stable and you can actually do your movement better. And then you can actually get the muscle working better. And then you can actually build muscle. And then if you want a toned body, you're actually going to get a toned body because you're doing your movement correctly. Like form is everything. And not only that, but also having a regulated nervous system to move through the movement. So sometimes, and I often get like this, if I'm like scattered, my brain is like, what's going on? Like I just feel like so like, I don't know, a fish out of water in my day-to-day life. And I go to the gym feeling that way. I feel it in my training. I can't lift as heavy. I can't lift as heavy. I can't train as well. I can't move as well. My body is like, it's like locking up. It's literally like a psychological thing. The body is like, no, I want to protect you. You're feeling really like on edge, and this is me trying to protect you. It's like it kind of locks up, it kind of seizes, and that's when you might start to feel tight and you might start to feel sore because your body's like, oh, what is this? What's going on? Let me try and protect you. So it's a really big psychological thing. I'm really, really big on, nervous system, energy, everything like that. So really trying to regulate yourself, which is why I don't give people 5, 6, 7 days training in the gym, because I'm like, what is the fucking point if you're training that many times and then you're not resting, you're not recovering, you're not regulated? Your body is literally going to be cooked. And I'm going to go into something else very soon to do with that. But before I get into that, I do want to quickly talk to, again, the common mistakes I see as a PT. I kind of whipped over that. But main one is the engaging the core. So what I would love you to think about, just to try and paint a picture for you while we're on the podcast, is when you're standing in your position, whatever movement you're doing. Let's say we're doing a back squat, got a bar on my back, I'm standing upright, like I feel like I'm ready to go into my squat. The biggest thing I see with something like this is the arched back, what we call a duck bum. So like if you are watching, you can see my hand, your back, like that bit of my hand there, that is the bum, and this is your back here. So sticking your bum out like that and going into your squat, and then using your bum like that to come back up. It's just getting into your back, the zero core engagement there. So if you can think of tuck the pelvis, pull the ribs down, you see how my hand has just gone like so neutral, because that is what I want you to envision your spine to do. So you're standing there with the bar on your back, you're gonna tuck your pelvis under, pull your ribs down. You want to think ribs stacked over your pelvis. From there, a big breath into your belly. So this is the thing, and I still see it. Like I saw it on TikTok the other day. Someone was like, all right, I want you to engage your core. I want you to suck your tummy in and hold it. And I'm like, that is the opposite of what we want to do. We want to do a big breath into the belly, and then you can really tense from there. Some people say like, imagine you're about to get punched in the stomach, or you're about to sneeze, or whatever it is. But big breath into the belly and hold that. Go into your squat, come back up, release your breath, right? And this can be for so many movements, but I just thought I really wanted to explain that one. Another thing I see a lot of the time as well, to go back to the lunge thing, is because a lot of us are sitting down all day, right? And I'm sure a lot of you listening are desk workers. You're just sitting at your desk all day. You don't really realize that your body is just kind of naturally kind of hunching over time. Your hammies are a little bit tighter because you've just been sat all day. Again, it's a thing of like your body is like, okay, I want to protect you. So like, let's kind of tighten them up, like we're not moving. And glutes can be often the weaker area. And people go like, oh, but I can hip thrust this much. I'm like, yeah, but your glutes aren't really activated while you're doing that. A lot of momentum comes from the lower back. So we really want to make sure these glutes are activated. So to go back to that lunge thing I was talking about, something as simple as, because I've corrected this so many times over the years, something as simple as if you're doing a lunge or a single leg movement, whatever it is, if you've got a mirror in front of you, watch your knee, especially things like step ups as well. Watch that knee. When you're actually pushing through that flat foot, I want you to watch your knee. If it starts to cave in a little bit, glutes are switched off. It's not on. It's not doing what it needs to do. You need to keep your knee facing over your toe. You cannot let it cave in. Bring that knee over your toe. Really focus on the glute doing the work, like as you're coming back up. So say you've gone down into your lunge, as you're coming back up. Yes, you'll feel some quads and some hammies too, but I want you to make sure that knee stays over your toes. Your knee should not be caving in for any exercises. I find deadlifts, it can happen as well. As you start to fatigue, the glutes start to fatigue, right? So you've got your feet parallel, you're going into your deadlift, and then if you're starting to feel it in your lower back, have a look at your knees in the mirror in front of you. Are they starting to come in a little bit as you're doing your deadlift, or are you keeping them open over your toes? Something I want you to think about. And again, I'm saying this thinking, I do this day in, day out. I know this so well, but this could be something that will literally change your training. And I hope this changes someone's training. I really, 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 really do, because I love to help. Please let me help you. So yeah, if there's any questions on any kind of form things, please, send me a message on Instagram, leave a comment down below, like whatever the thing is. I fucking love this stuff. And like, that's why I do it. I've been doing it for 3 years, and I can't see me not being a personal trainer. Like I froth it, which is so wild to think about my whole story and where I came from. But yeah, it's truly like, I just fucking love it. I love it. Okay. Next thing, I'm still on the same first thing. Next thing I want to talk about was just like how to train in terms of sets and reps and intensity and rest time. So something that I don't do, because I don't work with, bodybuilders or really intense like power lifters or anything like that. I work with the everyday woman, the everyday busy woman that just needs to build some strength, get a bit stronger, have some longevity, maybe wants to change her body a little bit, like, wants to lose a little bit of weight, get a little bit toned. That's the kind of woman I work with. So I'm very intentional with my sets and my reps, but intensity should always be up there, apart from one reason I'll come to after. Sets and reps, very intentional with that. Like the way that I set out the exercise in the program will always start with a main lift. It's generally, something like a bench press or a deadlift or a squat or a hip thrust or whatever. And there's going to be a strength component at the start. So potentially it's going to be lower reps generally, like a 6 to 8 kind of rep range. And then accessories might go into heavier reps. So accessories, things like, lat pull downs, like single arm lat pull downs, bicep curls, tricep extensions, like single leg work, like accessory work, that's where the reps might start to go up a little bit. But again, it's so dependent on the person. So I'm very intentional in the way I do things for my clients. But then I don't actually set rest times. And that is because I think it is so important to listen to your body on the day that you are training and know that if you need some extra rest, you can take some extra rest. But also know that if you have less time on this day, if you're in more of a rush, instead of being like, oh, this workout's going to take me an hour because I have to do X amount of rest times, you could actually go, okay, this workout, I can do it quicker. I'll have less rest. I might superset 2 exercises here, 2 exercises there, make it work quicker, make it work for me in the time that I have, and then go. Because I'm like, I would much rather you go to the gym and do your 1 hour session in 40 minutes and be able to smash it out and do it as supersets. Maybe you won't lift as heavy because you haven't had as much rest time, but do the supersets and then get out of there. Like, I would rather you go to the gym than just go, I'm not going because I don't have the time. When in reality, if you had that little bit of time, you could have done it. So that is why I don't set rest times. And I have had clients say like, oh, like how long should I rest for? And I'm like, typically a minute to a minute and a half between sets, but I don't set actual rest times. And I remember I did have a client once, she was doing we were doing heavy deadlifts. I wanted her to do that. And she was doing it online. So I wasn't actually with her when she was doing it. And she was like, oh, my deadlifts are like, my 4 sets of deadlifts is taking like 25 minutes. She's like, I'm resting for like 5 minutes between each one. She's like, I'm just like cooked. But you know what? She fucking went from struggling to get past 30 kilos without hip and back pain to doing over 70 kilos pain-free. Like, girl, hats off to you. She's done the work and I was there to support her. But anyway, it's a whole other thing. So yeah. And then intensity, like I said, it should always be there. I think you should always be pushing for a heavier weight every week if you can. Again, so dependent on the exercise. Like a lateral raise, you'll probably be doing the same fucking weight for months, to be honest, whatever it is. Depends how long you've been doing them for. But something like a squat or again, a hip thrust or whatever it is, like try and add that little bit more each week, especially if it goes like, if your rep range goes like set 1 is 10 reps, set 2 is 8 reps, set 3 is 6 reps. Like as you drop the reps, that's where you should be increasing the weight. You shouldn't have to stay on the same weight when you're doing less reps. You should be able to add more. If you're doing the same reps for every set, that's where it's like, okay, it could be a bit trickier. But generally, like if you're dropping the reps, you're upping the weight. Rule of thumb. But yeah, intensity should always be there. You should always, like the last 2 to 3 reps should be a fucking struggle. Like I want to see, and I say this to my clients all the time, I'll be like, how did that feel? And they're like, oh yeah, like it was hard. But I'm like, you literally had no emotion on your face, so I'm going to give you a heavier weight. And they're like, oh shit. So they know now, like if they're struggling, they've got to show it, because otherwise, if I'm not saying it, they're getting a heavier weight because it's not hard enough. So the intensity should always be there, except for the next point I'm about to go into, and that is deloading. And I'm not going to go into the full thing of deloading because, again, I don't like to tell people what to do. But I think it's something to be aware of, because a lot of my clients, I was having this conversation, a lot of my clients weren't really aware of that a deload existed and when to use it, how to use it, what to do, and that kind of thing. So a deload is pretty much when you take a week of your training and you really pull it back. So you might be really fatigued from just, again, pushing so hard in your training for weeks, and your body's like, okay, I'm at a point now, I just need a little rest, but we don't want to take a complete rest. So a deload is just where you might reduce the sets or the reps or the intensity or the, what's the other one? Oh, the weight. Like, what's the other thing? Generally for me, a deload, I'd be reducing the weight, because that is reducing the intensity really. I try and keep my same reps and sets that way, because like then I know, like I see the data of, okay, I did this weight last time for this many sets and this many reps, so I might just take off like 20% of the weight and do that for the same reps and sets, just so I know in my head like that's going to be a good deload weight for me. Like it might still be a little bit of a challenge, but it's something that's a lot more doable, and it's something that's going to, again, help the nervous system. So if you're feeling really heightened, dysregulated, like really just body is struggling, mentally struggling, and you're like, I just don't want to go to the gym, one of the best things you can do is implement a deload. Again, it could be something that you use potentially period week. Like if you really, really struggle, like energy is cooked, you feel shit, try and do some movement. Maybe the first couple of days you don't go to the gym, but then when you're back to the gym, or like in the lead up to your period, whenever it is that you feel kind of shit, that's when you could implement a deload as well. So again, it's just reducing the overall load, whether it's by reps or sets or weight. But just being able to reduce it and give your body a bit of a break without completely resting it. Because if you're like me and you've been training for a while, when you have a week or two off, you feel it. Like I had a week off the other week because I was sick and I'd been pushing too hard, and so I just got fully sick. I think in the end, between like the last time I trained the week before and the time I trained the next week, it ended up being nearly 2 weeks. But I was feeling it. Like I was like, oh, my back's a bit sore. Like I feel really tight. Like I don't feel as mobile. Like I was just feeling really like, ugh. And I felt it. So if you can avoid it, like if you're not sick and you're just like tired, then I would highly recommend still trying to go and just implementing a deload. Okay, that's all I'm going to say on a deload. Thank God. I was like, guys, I've been yapping for so long. The first portion took me a lot longer than intended. Second one was just about deloading. So that is all I was going to say on that. Like I said, I don't tell anyone you should deload at this time and you should do that, because I think some coaches potentially, make their clients cycle through a deload maybe every 6 weeks or so. But I'm like, if you feel fine in 6 weeks, why would I make you deload? Do what you got to do, girl. Push when you got to push. And then deload when you like, now I feel fucked. Like, give your body a rest when it needs it, but try and discern between like, do I need a rest or am I just being lazy? That's a big one there. Okay. The last point I wanted to make in this episode is training when motivation leaves the building, because girl, she's going to leave the building. You're not going to be motivated 24/7. I am certainly not motivated 24/7. I'm a personal trainer. I work in a gym. I'm in a gym a lot. I try not to be in a gym all the time. This is why I train 3 times a week, and I try and do it on the mornings that I'm not PTing. I definitely can't train after a big morning of PT. If I do, I'm fucked and I'm pretty much deloading, because like I could go from 6 till 2 training clients. Like I'm cooked at the end of that. Like it's a lot of people. It's not just a physical, like, loading the weights, moving around the room, like doing all the things. It's the mental, side of it, things as well, calculating their weights, having a conversation, counting the reps, like doing all the things at once. Like if you're a PT, you get it. You get it, and I know you get it. But yeah, motivation's going to leave the building is what I was going to say. So there's a couple of things that I wanted to say on this. And the first one's pretty much like just to harden up a little bit, and you have to go. You can't just be like, I'm not motivated, I'm not going. Because there are so many things that we wouldn't do if we weren't motivated. It doesn't just apply to the gym, it applies to literally everything in life. Like, could you sit at work and just be like, I'm not motivated to do said task today, so I'm just not going to do it? No. Like, you wouldn't do that. And yes, there's a difference. You're getting paid at work, like, obviously. But there's that thing of like, how about the self-respect of showing up and actually doing it? And this is where habit tracking comes in, right? I spoke to habit tracking a couple of weeks ago, fucking froth habit tracking. And this is where it comes in of that thing of like, have a way that you can tick it off. Like come in, get it done, tick it off, And that might be like, if you're an ADHD girly like me, you might love ticking off a list. I write down my gym days on my list, and I love to tick it off. I'm like, yeah, I went to gym. So exciting. Obviously I love to train, but like when I'm not motivated, I'm like, thank fuck it's done. I might be walking out of there going, thank fuck it's done. But it's also like, I did it. I could have not gone, but I did it. Because I also just so envision the future version of me. And I talk about this nonstop lately. And I think it's my approaching age 30, which I've still got a year and a bit. But I think it's approaching that. And I just know that from age 30, we start to lose muscle mass as women. So in my head, I'm like, I just need to build up as much strength as possible. Why would I not go to the gym? Again, like I said before, like I had 2 weeks off and I was like, I feel it. I don't feel as good. So I'm like, I just need to go even when I don't fucking want to. And a lot of the time I don't want to. So we go. I had another thought on that and it's completely gone from my brain. So the next kind of things, there's 2 more. First one is potentially you just need to do a deload. Potentially you just need to pull back. And like I said before, it's the difference of going and just having less intensity, having more rest, whatever it looks like, versus just not going at all. I'd rather you go and do something than not go at all. And it could be, obviously you don't want to just do like 3 exercises. Like try and do your program that you've got assigned to you. But if there is that thing, and you know what, potentially whoever's listening, I don't put more than 5 or 6 exercises in a workout. I'm like, no, there's too much. There's more than that. But I'm going to say this because my mum was doing a challenge a year and a half-ish ago, I think it was. Maybe it was a year ago. And she showed me her workouts and there was 12 exercises in them. And I was like, fucking hell, I would not be wanting to go to the gym if that was me. So if you are someone that unfortunately has a shit program like that, I would, go and do half of it if you're feeling shit, because that would take you for fucking ever. No wonder you don't want to go to the gym. Like, it's too much load, too much intensity. You'll be burning out quickly. No wonder you need a fucking deload. So anyway, back to my point. You could potentially do a deload if motivation is gone, or like you're feeling really like mentally kind of fatigued from the gym. Try a deload. And the last one is just getting yourself a little treaty afterwards. Like reward yourself. Sorry, my laptop's about to die. Reward yourself, treat yourself, like whatever kind of feels good. Like maybe a little coffee. It might be, I don't know. I had something else. I actually lost on my notes earlier. It was quite embarrassing. I accidentally clicked delete and I don't know why I did that. But maybe it's like buying yourself a little coffee, taking yourself on a nice little beach walk, like whatever your thing is, have a little treaty afterwards. Just reward yourself for getting it done, because it is a big deal. It's not easy. And like I said before, it's not like you're at work and you're getting paid for it. It's not easy. So reward yourself for it and really, really celebrate yourself for getting it done when you really didn't want to. I'm going to leave this episode here because I'm going to upload it so you can listen to it straight away. But thank you guys so much for listening or watching, however you are consuming the podcast. I appreciate it always. If you have any questions on training, or you want to learn more about my training programs, my training style, how I coach, please send me a message on Instagram or leave a comment down below and I will get back to you as soon as I can. I love speaking to you guys. But yeah, I'm going to leave it here. I'm going to love you and leave you, and I will see you in next week's episode. Bye.